Okay, so here we go. If there's going to be a downside to this line, it will be Teela. I have to know. Okay, what's going on? If you guys have been here for a while, or if you're even just discovering the channel, Teela is my favorite character in all of Masters of the Universe. And no, it's not because she's a crush or she's hot. She is literally my favorite character. There is a top 5 MOTU characters list. I'll put it in the annotations. You can check it out and you can hear my thought process on that character. I absolutely love her. There's also Teela videos. I'll put a couple of them in the annotations and you can hear what I have to say. But she is my favorite character. So to say that I'll grade a portion of your line on how good you do the Teela figure is not an understatement. I've heard people say your line is only as good as your merman. I've actually heard that quote. Who was that? Was that? That might have been Geek Dad Life. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I know I've heard that comment. I've heard your line is only as good as your merman. And that's, I mean, that people have that standard. Their favorite character can set the precedent for a line. This one I'm a little concerned about. But we're going to open her up, we're going to check her out, and we're going to see how it plays out. I want to see how Teela made it in this line. She was one of the ones that when I saw, I said, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. But then I bought her anyway. Because of the character she is. Because I have to know. Sometimes these characters are fantastic in person. Maybe she is. I don't know. I haven't really seen her. Let's check her out. Here we are. I don't yet know what to necessarily think of the Teela. When I look at her, I think there may only be one problem that I really have with her, but we'll get in there and we'll check her out, figure out how I feel about it. Just Teela, shell-kicking warrior goddess. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is. I don't think the Masters of the Universe characters necessarily benefited from this crossover as much as the Turtles did. I'm going to be fully honest about that. But we'll see what we get as we go. The cross-sell, same one as the video that we just finished. This guy right here looks like an absolute star. In fact, I wonder if that's where I heard that comment that your line is only as good as your merman. If that's true, that merman right there, he's absolute peak. Because this is amazing. I love the fact that they gave him that fishtail thing. This is really cool. Down on the shores here, and this is kind of wild too, because it shows that there's like shores at Castle Grayskull. Close enough that the castle is right there and they're over here at a water mass. I don't remember that from the series, but Masters of the Universe is a malleable, amazing property, and if they want to do something like put Castle Grayskull on the shores of Eternia, in like, I'd be 100% fine with that. I don't see that that would be a problem. In fact, the artwork of it expresses just how cool that really is. Okay, no further ado, let's check her out. Okay, so here's Teela, and now that I'm seeing her in person, I think I figured out what they were going for. I think I figured it out, honestly. So let's move Teela closer. What is the idea here? What are they attempting to accomplish? I think that this is Shredder Teela. It took me a second to realize it, but I think that's what we're looking at here. I think we're looking at a Shredder Teela. I think that's what she got from this crossover idea. Look, it's a good guy version, sure, but see that? She's got the little claw thing right there. Right? Makes sense. So it's a very turtle aesthetic. The paint feels sticky. They used that paint that doesn't, you know what I'm talking about? I don't like that. I wish they wouldn't have done that. It's both gauntlets too. It's not the head. It's only the gauntlets. Okay, so the gauntlets feel sticky. It's the paint. It's not actually sticky. It's the paint. I wish they wouldn't have done that. I don't know why they would have made that decision, but they did. Regardless, yeah. So we got shredder aspects here with the gauntlet claws, and that just came right off. So these clip on. You just saw it come right off. It came off in my hands. It clips right back on. But that also means that these can be taken off. Maybe that's a benefit if you don't like the claws. But now that I'm starting to kind of feel the aesthetic, I'm starting to realize what they were going for. It does make me like it a little bit more. We got the battle dress right here, which is pretty cool. I like these gold chains. I think that works very well. We have the Shredder-esque mask. See, look at that. See, like, do you see, like, this image right here? See how this would kind of play out? You see that? See how she strikes that right there? That's what I mean. She's the Shredder. I didn't realize it at first. I had to have her in my hands to kind of pull off the aesthetic and understand what they were going for. She's a good guy Shredder. This is actually a piece of armor. So if you took this off, you would have an all-white Teela costume. Because this part is not painted. So you would have an all-white Teela costume. And maybe, if you could take it off and you could be careful enough to do so, or maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe it just unclips right there and you would put it on a different Teela. You could put it on a Teela where you like the design more. And just to put it out there, looking at Teela's butt, this is the older buck. So we're looking at probably the second Teela buck. This is probably the one with the better knees and everything that came with either the second release, painted differently, or around the same design that came out with the with Zor. That's what I think we're looking at here in terms of the buck design. But now that I know what it is, I'm liking it a lot more. She has a shell that you could put on exactly like the turtles. So let's do that. Let's give her a turtle shell, which is crazy to think, but there she is with a literal turtle shell on her back. This white thing right here, the hair, the horse hair that would have been laying, that's really cool. I have one problem with this Teela. One. The helmet and everything's pretty cool. But either the hair needed to be made from a different material or it needed to be far back. Like an understanding that it would blow in the wind straight back. Because like it moves. But see the problem here? That's the most at rest that her hair can be. And it's a bit of an issue. And every time you turn her head, it's not in the way necessarily, but it's noticeable that it's a hindrance, is what I'm saying. Otherwise, this is a pretty solid idea. She does get a sword, and it is an absolutely ridiculous thing. Look at this thing. Let me refocus here, I'm sorry. Look at that sword. She has a swai. Is that good? A swai? A swore? A scior? Swai. It's a swai. She has a giant swai. It is pretty cool, but I almost wonder if having a sword on this Teela is almost a disservice when she's literally like a frontline fighter with these spikes and everything. Having her in hand, she's pretty cool. Having her in hand, she's pretty cool. I don't know that I love the sword. I may very well just put her up on the shelf without the sword. Her shell is a shield, by the way, too. So you could say that in a knight aspect, a warrior aspect, taking a different idea altogether, you take the shell off and you play her out that way, right? I'm going to assume she's right-handed. There, you could put the shell in her hand, give her the sword, and strike more of a knight Teela, right? Very much the guard. That's pretty good. So there's two different angles you could play here. You could very much put the shell on her back and fight with her hands. You could very much make her a knight, like a literal, really cool, this is, you know, she is the wall, a knight. She just became the tank of the team, which I like that aspect too. So I'd say that all in all, she is actually pretty solid. She doesn't want to stand up with the shield and everything. You're going to have to fight with that. But all in all, I would tell you that they did it. I think they saved themselves here. She's a solid figure for the line. So that's awesome, as well as fantastic news, because she was the one I was worried about in the line. I think that there's no reason to believe they won't do fantastic on every single figure. But when I first saw her, like just with the promotional pictures, I did not pick up immediately that she was supposed to be a Shredder amalgamation type of thing. I know they keep claiming this line is not an amalgamation. It's a tribute to both. And there is amalgamation taking place. She was inspired by the Shredder. There's no doubt in my mind that's what's going on there. Just like Donnie is inspired by Man-at-Arms to have a Man-at-Arms look. Look, we can be honest about what it is. It's not an amalgamation in terms of the storyline. These are the turtles that end up in Grayskull that then meet up with the heroes, and then a storyline takes place and they end up taking certain looks. But there's an amalgamation property to that look. Now, that being said, when they do it right, and it's awesome, and it is very awesome. It opens me up to the possibility of the other figures in the line, because I have a hard Ninja Turtle rule. The 4 turtles, then Splinter, go from there. But how far from there is dependent. Looking at this line and seeing the items that I've gotten my hands on, especially after seeing her, that opens me up to the aspect of everybody else in the line. It really does. It makes me say, oh, this is some good stuff in all aspects. How much of the other stuff that I've kind of put myself into the idea that, nah, not worried about it, I'll get the ones that I like. How many of the others, if I see in person and spend a second with, will I realize what it is, realize how well it's done, and then pick it up? I don't know. Time will tell, but I'm off to a running start here with this Ninja Turtle line. I really, really like it. And if I'm to grade, there are problems with this Teela, but the Teela is solid. That makes me appreciate the line. Later on.